The dreaded recession is here and people are freaking out. But let's get real. Investing in a recession can be the best time, especially with real estate. This is where you get the best deals, but it needs to be done correctly or it can get really messy. In this video, we're gonna talk about how we're investing in real estate during the recession to make sure we minimize getting burnt. Investing always carries risks, and real estate is no different, especially during a recession because there's so many unknowns. One of those is the job market. Typically during a recession, you're seeing higher unemployment, and that means your tenants less likely to pay, or you have to evict them. So how do you kind of mitigate those risks? Well, first, of course, always screening your tenants, making sure that they have the wherewithal and a good, solid, stable job, as well as keeping more reserves on hand so that you can weather a recession. We typically like to keep at least 6 months of actual expenses on hand in cash so that you can weather any of those storms as either your tenants work on getting into some RAF programs or government assistance, or they actually go and find another job, or you have to go looking for new tenants. The other unknown is rents, and rents have been increasing the last year, but during a recession, they might go the other way. And in 2008, that's what we saw. For 2 years, the rents decreased based on the fair market rent. And that was a really big swing for us, and we had to make sure we pivoted and had plenty of cash reserves, as well as we were buying below market to offset that actual decrease in value. So if you bought in the last year or so and you were depending on rents increasing, that could put you in a very bad position during this recession. So that's why when you're doing your numbers, it's really important to base it on current rents, not future rents that you're hoping that will go. It's better to work on actual data versus pro forma data. So how do you make sure you're buying right and buying at the right time? Well, first off, don't buy for appreciation during a recession. Buy for cash flow. Make sure the property is cash flowing and not hoping that in the next 6 months to a year that you'll see the value of the property go up 50%, $1,000 or 20%, whatever it might be that you've been seeing in the last few years. It's been crazy. Instead, focus on cash flow. Solid cash flow properties from actual rents today, not hoping for future rents. Unless, of course, it's so under rented. So we bought one deal recently where it was mom and pop owned and rents were way below market rent, over 50% below market rent. So this is, something that we found was a good value add, and we were able to get the property for a good price, and now we're actually increasing the rents. And that is something you could anticipate if you can actually find deals that are so under rented, then you could add that as a value add, but don't depend on if they're near market rents that you're hoping that the rents will go up another 10, 15% because that's what we've been seeing in the last year. Don't depend on that. Look for value adds, whether it be the rents are lower or there's an increase in vacancy, and that you can fill that vacancy with solid, good screening processes so that that's the value add that you're adding in. During a recession is where you can generally find the really good deals, but where do you find them? So where we find is a great place to find them are gonna be foreclosure auctions. A lot of people have been buying now and they've been banking on pro forma data. They've been banking on, obviously rents going up and the appreciation going up, and they weren't factoring in the inflation where their taxes are going up, their insurance is going up, their labor costs, their maintenance costs, their supply costs are all going through the roof. And so as the market shifts, maybe they locked in a great rate, but they are having so much more cost, and they might actually see that they're going to be having to offload those properties for cheaper, or the banks might be taking them back. So that would be a good, going and attending foreclosure auctions will be a great potential way to learn the process and learn how to find these deals. Typically in the last few recessions, that's been a great time to get really good deals at foreclosure auctions. The other idea is talking and reaching out to more and more wholesalers. These people are the ones that go and hunt down deals. They're calling all the people, they're sending out cards, they're driving for dollars. They're doing all they can to find any deals. And right now, a lot of wholesalers don't have a lot of deals because there's not a lot out there. But as the market shifts, they might have more inventory coming as more people looking to get out of their current deals that they can't afford, and they might have a good amount of inventory for you to pick from. As you build a great relationship with those people, they might funnel deals to you first. So during a recession, what are some things that you should look to avoid? Well, first, stop thinking about appreciation. That should not be your focus. Your focus needs to be cash flow, cash flow, cash flow, because that's what's going to carry you through a recession, not appreciation. You'll get the great benefit of buying low, and as the market comes back, you'll get that appreciation later on. But to get through the recession, you want to focus on cash flowing properties and really tighten anything you can do as far as your maintenance and lessening your overhead, as far as also making sure when you're looking at repairs, durability, especially with tenants, you want to make sure you're looking at anything you can do to lower your overhead by buying things in bulk, anything to do to just keep that cost down as much as possible. I mean, obviously you want to do that all times. It's always about the bottom line, but during a recession, it's even more prevalent to focus on cash flow and keeping those expenses low and the income as much as possible. Also, I really stay away from high touch properties. These are properties where it's constant, issues. Maybe if it could be the high income properties that are just the very needy tenants, or it could be the lower income property that is just constantly home and breaking things like that. Or it could be something of the mix. It doesn't matter. It's just the properties that you got to keep going back to. If you can, maybe sell those and then focus only on properties that are more set it and forget it, so to speak, so that in general, obviously that's a good thing. But in the recession, if it's less touch properties, it will allow you to focus on other things that doesn't make it so that you have to focus so much and lose so much of your time and energy on that, and possibly also money. The other thing I would focus on more than ever during a recession is stuff with good job growth, where businesses are coming in, not going out. I would even consider maybe being careful of tech markets, because typically during a recession, you're seeing tech jobs are generally cutting and their labor force sooner than other jobs like manufacturing, and the health sector, stuff like that. Those are going to be more solid, more stable during a recession. And so they're going to want to be able to get tenants more like that in those markets. This will allow you to more stability for income. The other thing to focus on is high rent demand markets. This is where you have low inventory of rental units, and therefore when you put them on, they're getting rented quickly, which also gets more income faster and less vacancy, which obviously goes back to the bottom line. Now, during a recession, it's typically a lot easier to negotiate a deal that are on the MLS than currently now, because obviously as less demand for property, you're going to be maybe the only buyer or the cash buyer if possible. You're going to have a higher likelihood of getting a better deal. So during a recession, it's really important to brush up on your negotiation skills, that you can go and talk to realtors, talk to the other agents out there that are potentially going to have deals, and knowing that you're a buyer, but you're a value buyer. And therefore you can hopefully find a lot more deals that are cash flowing from day one, as opposed to right now where often you're buying property that won't cash flow, and that you're just hoping for appreciation or a rental appreciation or appreciation in general, so you can hopefully flip it in 6 months. That's just not something you're going to find in a recession. You're going to want to find deals where you can renegotiate, because sellers are basically looking to get out of property. So you're going to be that savior to them, that you can come in with cash, or you can come in and buy it because you have a strong portfolio and the banks are behind you. Because often during a recession, you're going to see banks tightening their lending. They're going to want to make sure they're very risk adverse, and they're going to want to make sure that they're making very smart decisions. So they're going to start lending to less people. So you're going to want to make sure that you also building your good relations with them, so that you can be the one that they're going to lend to. And therefore then you're also the one that will go to these buyers, and you can actually close the deals. Because during a recession, more often than not, you're going to see people not closing deals, and it's going to get sellers very frustrated, which could be a benefit to you, because then once again, as they're frustrated and they can't sell, you come in there with a solid balance sheet with the banks. You have maybe cash, and that's going to allow you to be the savior for them, and therefore you can get a better deal typically when you're negotiating. So kind of in summary, recession can be a fantastic time to buy. Often people will say, oh, should I wait, and see that the markets really drop, but it doesn't really matter. The key is making sure you do numbers more diligently now and during a recession than you did before. Because before you could luck into a deal and just wait it out in 6 months and you'd be fine. But now that's not going to be on your favor. Time's not going to be on your side. You're going to want to make sure you're buying right and running your numbers. So I would say more than ever, this is the time to maybe work on your spreadsheets, work on your pencil sharpening, and making sure you're doing more and more due diligence and negotiating better to get those better deals, and hunting for deals much below market value. Because as prices go down, as rents possibly go down, you're going to want to make sure that you're lower than everything else, so that you can weather that storm. And also I would make sure that cash is going to be king. Cash is going to be where people are going to gravitate towards if they can sell quickly to someone that can come in with cash. And once again, if you have liquid cash, or you're able to tap into your 401k, or if you're able to tap into maybe a hard money lender or a private money lender, or partners with people with money, those are going to be really important to have. So build those relationships now so that you can act and get deals much faster for better than anyone else. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe, and we're going to be coming out every week with more tips and tricks on real estate investing. So make sure you stay tuned and check out this video.